Hello everyone. So today we'll learn how to find a domain and range from an exponential function. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna practice some of the examples so that we can learn it by heart. No matter what, we will never forget it. Let's start it. So let's start with writing the basic formula for exponent function. Is y equal uh, b power x. Sorry, b power x. So x is the exponent here and b is the base, right? So here, um, let's draw the, we can draw the graph for real quick to see how it is. Here we go. Let's just draw it here. It doesn't matter. Let's say this is x. Since we know this is x, this is y. So let's just draw this part. Okay. So this, you see, the x, it doesn't matter. X can goes from negative infinity to positive infinity. It doesn't matter. It can go any places, right? So we can just write it down. The domain, what's gonna be domain for this then? Domain will be for exponent function, all types of exponent function, it doesn't matter. Any type of exponent function is always x are all the real number, okay? No matter what. And for the range, what will be the range? Okay, range is, you see, from here to here, it's close to 0, but it never touches the 0. So y is more than 0 and all the real number. Since it goes upward, so y gonna be all the real number. That's your range. Okay, so when you have the extension on your base function, so let's say the extension one, so let's say you have y equal b power x a plus d. Okay, so in that situation, what are you going to do? Is the domain is for this, you will have the same, for this you will still have gonna be same. So in that situation, this part is d, let's say d. But your range will be still, domain will be still the same. So you can just write down domain. Domain is still gonna be same, since all the x values, you can put any x values. But for range in this situation is, you see, no matter what, y never touches the d. So y has to be more than d. So y has to be more than d. And the range is y all the real number. Now it doesn't matter. If d is negative, you can just put it negative here. Let's say you have d is negative, right? Any negative number. So you can just put it negative number. If it's a positive number, you can just put a positive number, okay? Now let's talk. Let's start practicing now. In this here, you see the graph. So let's say this is 1, so this is 0, right? So it's never touches the 0. So what will be the answer? The domain. What will be the domain? Domain will be x, all the real number, no matter what I just told you guys. So you can just write it down, all of them. You can just write down domain is x, all the real number, okay? So this one too, domain is x, all the real number. For this one too, domain x, all the real number, okay? Now for the range for this one, what do you get? For the range, it doesn't matter, since it's upward and it has to be more than 0. So y is more than 0 and y all the real number. Same thing here, it's upward, right? So what is the range? It's y is more than 0 and y all the real number. Same thing here, range. Since it's downward, you see the downward and it goes upward. So it's still here, y is more than x, more than 0, right? So y is more than 0. Sorry, since it's downward, it's gonna be y is less than 0. Okay, because it's downward, so y is gonna be less than 0, and y is all the real number. Same thing here. It doesn't matter is which side it is, still it is going downward. So what is going to be range? Y is less than 0 and y is all the real number. Hopefully you guys understand any kind of graph, you can find it. Now what if you guys have extension? Let's say this one is have 1. So let's just do it. What is the domain? Domain is still, remember that domain is always all the real number of x. And what will be the range here? Range is, remember that I told you guys, since there is, it's like a D. Remember that you have a D here. Once you had a D, what do you put there? Y is greater than D. Same thing here. It's, look at this. Y goes to D, never touches D. So that's mean it's never be D. That's mean here is 1. So Y goes to 1 but never touches 1. That's mean Y is more than 1. And Y is all the real number. That's it. So here is the same thing. What's the domain gonna be? Here your domain will be, let's just start with the black. Domain will here is the same thing. Domain will be x all the real number. And the range, what will be the range? Range is y is here, never touches 2, right? More than 2. And y is all the real number. Same thing. So it is downward. Whenever it is downward, so it's going to be less than, right? So if it's, what we have is we have -2, right? Here, -2. So it's going to be, so we can just write down domain. We already know domain is all the real number. Again, guys, it's very important you guys pay attention. And range is what? Y, since it's downward, it's going to be less than, it says -2. So it's going to be -2. And y is all the real number. That's it. Here's the same thing too. We know all the for this one, domain is again x all the real number. And what is the range? Range is y, since it's downward, you see the downward, so it's going to be less than -1 and all the real numbers. You see? Hope all of you guys understand this one. Let's do some practice for the base one. So what we have, y, also domain is again, guys, x all the real number, okay? And what is the range? Okay, just think about it. It's just the base, so there is no extension. So y is more than 0 and y is all the real number. Same thing here. It doesn't matter if you have fraction of it, as long as there is no extension, nothing, no a, b, c here, a or c here. It's just a b. So it's going to be just x, okay? And the range for this one is just going to be y is more than 0 and y is all the real number. So now this one is interesting since it's negative here, right? So it's going to be, the graph going to go downward. So the domain will be still the same, x all the real number. And for the range for this one, what will be the range? Since it's negative, so y is less than 0. Remember guys, it is important to know when it's negative, is y is less than 0. Let's do this practice. The domain is, again, it's going to be the same, x all the real number. And for the range is what? Since it doesn't matter if it's fraction or what, since it's negative, it's going to be since the sign is negative, it's going to be downward. Equation is going to be downward. So y is less than 0 and y has all the real number. That's it. Now here y equal negative 3x, right? Y equal 3 power negative x. That's what does it mean? It does mean y is just 1 over 3x, right? And that is exactly the same of this one. So this is the answer for this one too. Okay? So this is the answer for this one too. For this one is just y equal just 3x. Because you have negative exponent, so it's gonna flip it. 3x. So for this one, it's gonna be this answer. Okay. Okay, now for this one, it's the same thing. Look, what do we have? Y equal negative 1 by 3x. We already did it here. Here. So it's going to be exactly whatever the answer you have here is going to be the answer same is here. Okay. Now for this one, is if we do it, is okay. So let's just retract it. Since yeah, let's just do this one. For this one, it's going to be 3 power x. Since it's and we have it exactly this one. We have it exactly this one. We have it exactly here. So this one will have the same answer as this. This will be the answer for this one too. Okay. Hope all of you guys got it. This one. Let's just do another part here with the extension, right? So what do? The domain is just the same, guys. Again, domain will be the same, all the real number. What is the range? Range is, look at this. Is y is, what is this? Since it's upward, it's positive. Y is going to be more than 3. And y is all the real number. That's it. That's your answer for here too. Domain. It's what? It's all the real number. X, all the real number. And for the range, you see, y, since it's the sign is positive here, in this base has the sign positive, right? So y gonna be more than -7. Here we -7. And y is all the real number. Here, y, since it's negative, it's gonna be downward, no matter what. So if it's downward, what does it mean? Where the domain is x is all the real number. Okay. And so what will be the range? Range will be y is, now this gonna be less than 6 and y is all the real number. Okay. Now for this one, what will be the domain? Domain is what? Domain will be just x, all the real number. And for the range, what will be the range? Y is, since it's the negative, right? It goes downward. So y is less than whatever you have here is -8. And y is all the real number. That's it. Hope you guys got this part. I hope you enjoy it. Now I assume that all of you are able to do it.